Hi, I'm Willie with H5 Technology. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, if you've been around the channel for a while, you've seen us talk about this router before. This is the Synology RT2600 AC. You've seen us set this up. You've seen us use this with Ubiquiti switches. You've seen some of the features that it has, but Synology has taught this router some new tricks. And I'm going to even go on the record as saying this may provide you with the perfect parental control setup. So real quick, I'm going to open the box, show you what's in the box again, and then we're going to hook this up and we're going to install the latest version of the router manager, so the SRM Synology router management software. And then we're going to set up some parental controls because it is definitely worth revisiting. This may be my favorite router now when it comes to parental controls. All right, so we have the RT2600 AC. Let's see what's in the box. Okay, we have the unit itself. And on the back it has an internet port. It has 4 LAN ports. Now, LAN 1 can also be used as a WAN 2. And then you'll notice that all over we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different places where we can hook antennas. And this has a multi-user MIMO. So it's got some pretty good throughput. What else is in the box? There's our 4 antennas. So we'll set this over here. Comes with an Ethernet cable, Ethernet, power. We're going to hook this up and we're going to jump right into upgrading the SRM. And I'm going to put these antennas on here real quick so you can see this. For parental control, Synology is going to take it to the next level. Now we've got a couple push buttons on the side. We've got a Wi-Fi push button, a WPS. Then of course here we have power. That's the power switch. You've got the power plug there. You've got USB. There's our internet port, our LAN ports. And then over here we have, this is a USB 3 here. And there's eject. See all of our status lights here on the front. So you've got the 2 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, WAN, WAN 2, and then 1 through 4 on the Ethernet. Synology logo is embossed. So that's it. Here's the physical plant. Let's head on over to the computer and let's get this guy upgraded and take a look at these awesome parental controls that are now built in. All right, so what I've done is you can see the Synology router up there. That's where the NetGate router was. It's on top of the ER4. I've got a cable going from the internet port here to the ER4, and then my PC is plugged directly into the Synology. When you first fire it up and you go to get on the internet, you get this screen saying that we need to set up our router. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on Start, and it's going to ask us what we want our username and password to be. For now, we're going to use admin, and we're going to agree to all the things here. And we're just going to call this Syno Kids. And my kids actually aren't going to use the wireless on the Synology, but I am going to go ahead and set it up for now. So we can do wireless router, we can do wireless AP. It's going to be wireless router for now. And we are going to leave the external access to the Synology router manager. We're going to leave it disabled. Internet connection is going to be auto IP. And now it is going to set up our router, and it gives us this oddly specific time that is going to be ready in 3 minutes. do not shut down the system during the setup. So we're going to let this setup go through, and we'll be right back. All right, so now we have this message on the screen that says, congratulations, Synology router setup is now complete. Launch Synology router. So it's going to bring our login screen up, or it's going to bring us into the router at that point. So you go through all the tips, and it tells us where, you know, everything is. So it'll want to go through all these tips when you first log in. And so we've already got a Synology account, so to manage this remotely with the app on the phone, if I want to make changes when I'm not here, then we'll have to link it to our Synology account. But real quick, what we want to do is we want to hop over to Control Panel, and we want to go down to System, and SRM, the 1.2 series is out. So what we're going to do is we're going to work our way through all of the downloads. So you can see 1.1.7 is now available. So I'm going to download this, I'm going to get this up to date, and then if I have to do a manual update, I'll show that. But I'm going to work my way through these, and if something deviates from using this screen, we will capture that so that you understand how to do that process. But we're going to work through this and get up to the latest, greatest SRM. So stay tuned. That's downloading SRM. I thought I would do a speed test, and you saw, I don't know if you saw, it was over 630. So this is capable of achieving way over 500 megabits per second. This is going through the Synology, which there's a few natted things happening here. Plus I've got gamers and streamers and everything else going on right now. So I don't think that 580 is too bad. I'll hit that refresh button. Yeah, we're over 6. We're going to go over 7, over 8. So the Synology box, we're going to be able to push this thing long term, especially with the new firmware. So I'm going to go back to updating. I just wanted you to see that speed test real quick. All right, so 2 updates got us to 1.1.7-6941 update 3, which I think was in the August timeframe, but they just released 1.2, which has all the features that we need. So we need to go to the download center, and I'll leave a link to this down in the description. And we need to download SRM 1.2. So we're going to come over here, we're going to download this, and then we are going to manually update it. So I clicked the download button. It asked me, what I want to do with it. I'm going to say I want to save the file. So it's going to download that. Download is now done, 200 and some odd megs. So now we're going to come back over to our Synology router. I'm going to click the manual update. I'm going to select the file, and we're going to upgrade this guy. All right, so I selected my file that I downloaded, and it says, note the SRM version is not downgradable. The applied SRM must be newer than the current one. And this is 1.2, and we're going to go ahead and click OK. It's going to upload to the router, and it's going to upgrade. So we will be back. So you can see that this process may look a little bit different. We have updating programs down here. We're at about 52%. It says it'll take about 10 minutes. So it is upgrading to that 1.2. I can't wait to take a look at this. All right. Check this out. This is the new SRM. This is 1.2. I'm smiling. If you can't tell, I'm smiling because Synology has put a lot of time. They listen to the users. And here it is, safe access. Bring parental control to the next level and manage your internet access with smarter ways. They've got the threat prevention, network configurations. Tells us, how to stay up to date, manage it on the go. All right, so you can see that already our screen looks a little different. Here's our safe access, which this is what parents are really going to want to check out. And then package center, we agree. I wonder if there's an update. Looks like there might be. Okay, so safe access is running, but it needs an update. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to update that safe access package. Now, real quick, how I'm going to handle this is I'm actually going to create a VLAN on all of my Unify gear and all of the Edge gear. I'm going to create a VLAN, and that VLAN is just going to be a layer 2 VLAN, and I'm going to connect a cable to the back of the Synology. Then I'm going to take all of my kids' devices and put them on that VLAN, whether it's on the Wi-Fi or whether it's on the wire, so that all of my kids, all their devices have to come through the Synology. So we'll get to see some real devices coming through the Synology, so we'll kind of get to see how this works. All right, looks like our packages are up to date. So we're going to go, let's see, there's our safe access. And this is the really exciting stuff right here. So we can add profiles to manage our users' internet activity. It's going to tell us all time spent online. We can do all, we can do users, we can do others. It shows us the past 24 hours. This is where we can set up the profiles. Here's our web filter. And you can see right out of the gate they've got child, employee, guest. And for child, it looks like adult, advertising, dangerous material, drugs, gambling, and violence. They take it a little bit further for employees. So now you can guess when you see the word employee in here, Synology is starting to gear these towards business. And we'll get to that here before the end of the video. We've got an access request where users, if they get a blocked page, they can request that the page be open. Then we've got our block style, our block page style, where we can set the block page. We've got our security down here. We got network protection, and this is IDS, IPS, things like that. We've got our activity log. We've got our notifications. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead. I'm going to create those VLANs, and if you want to see how I'm setting this up, now normally in a network, this would be the head into your network, and everything else would be secondary. My network's a little different, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to create all that stuff. I'm going to get it piped in here. You're going to start seeing real traffic, and I don't know what we're going to see, but then we will select some devices and create profiles. So we will be back as soon as I get all that done. You know what? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I create that layer 2 VLAN. All right, so I'm logged into Unify, and so I'm going to come over here to settings. I'm going to go to networks, and I'm going to create a VLAN only. So I'm going to create a new network. It's going to be called kids. It's going to be a VLAN only, and we're going to call this VLAN 255, and we're going to go ahead and save that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into my edge switch, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. All right, so now we're in the edge switch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to VLANs, and I'm going to create that exact same VLAN 255. So created it. I can change the name here. Save that. Now what I have to do is any place where I have an uplink, I need to tag that. So my uplink is port number 26. That takes me back to the Unify switch. So I need to make sure that this is tagged on port 26. And then what I'm going to do is port 24, I believe I can use here. Let's see. At port 24, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that untagged, because I want that, and I'm going to exempt VLAN 1. I'm going to make it untagged because I'm just going to pipe all the traffic through there. And then what I'm going to do is my son has a port on another switch on the Unify system that goes to his machine. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change that over to VLAN 255, which should pipe all of his traffic then through the Synology. So I got to get some wires hooked up, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got the cabling hooked up the way that I want it. And I'm not showing a link. Okay, yeah, it's showing some activity there. Not sure why it's not showing there, but got a connection. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my devices here, and I'm going to go to that upstairs switch, and I'm going to go to port 2, and I'm going to edit that, and I'm going to make it kids, and I'm going to apply that. And so his machine, he's gaming, he's going to get a hiccup, but then it is going to switch that over to that network. So in just a minute, he should be on the Synology router. We'll see what happens here. All right, so after convincing my son he needed to reboot his computer, you can see that for 1 minute he has his computer has been connected, and I'm gonna I'm gonna create a different SSID and everything and filter all of the children's devices down through this. That's how confident I am in this. So let's take a look. Let's start setting some things up. So here under Profile, let's click the plus. It's got an arrow. It tells us click here. Add profile. The profiles can help you manage devices in your home or office. Now we've added that word office. So you can see not only are we looking at Synology now in the home, we're actually looking at it in the office. Like I said, we're going to get to that. So let's start this wizard. And what we're going to do is we can do guest Wi-Fi profile, local network profile, or for user profiles. And what this says is if we can do it for the LAN, but the user profile for specific devices will override the LAN. So if we do it for the whole network, the individual user profiles will actually override that. So let's take a look at a user profile. We're just going to call this my son. We're not going to upload a picture, and I believe the VG, I believe that one was his. Oh, that's horrible. Hold on a second. All right, so yep, so this machine is his. So we're going to go ahead and create this. It is pretty cool that you can add the pictures. I thought that was a pretty nice thing. So we got my son, and this is his desktop. So we can set access rules, or we can click OK. So if we set an access rule, now this is where things this is where the rubber kind of meets the road. So I can assign multiple devices to my son. I can have an internet schedule, and it says internet schedule allows you to set specific time periods for users to access the internet. You can set different schedules for each day. How awesome is that? So each cell represents 15 minutes. So this is what I'm going to do. So you can see it is blocked from midnight until 8 a.m. So I'm actually going to take it a step further. Now this is in 24-hour time. So you have to, if you're not living in 24-hour time, you have to just subtract 12 once you get so far. So if I want his internet access to come on at 5 o'clock, 1700 hours is 5 p.m. So I'm actually going to highlight all these, and it's going to be blocked. So that'd be 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I actually don't want it to shut off until like 10. So this whole 9 o'clock hour I'm going to be allowed. So that's the time there. Now we're going to go over to time quota. So within that period, how many hours is he allowed to use? So we're going to set 2 hours, and I'm going to click OK. So I've set up that he can be on the internet between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m., but that he only gets 2 hours. And you can see he's already got 1 hour and 57 minutes remaining, because as he's been piped through the Synology, it knows how long he has been online. Now, what's going to happen is, internet off is at 2300 hours. So I need to edit that. I must have selected the wrong schedule there. So it looks at the beginning of this. So I'm going to have to do that. Next, internet off. Yeah, should be at 10 p.m. Perfect. Now, the only thing left to do now is to set his web filter. So let's set his web filter, and we're going to turn it on. And do we want it to be child, employee, or guest? You know, one thing that I thought was interesting is when we were looking at the guest, it just doesn't let your guests go to illegal websites. It lets your guests go to adult websites. But anyway, we are going to select child, because that's where I want him That's where I want him to be for now. And if we need to open some things up, we'll do that. And we are going to force safe search. I'm not going to set it on YouTube because he does listen to some music and I'm not sure how far it's going to go, but we are going to force it on Google and Bing. And we're going to click OK there. And so now you can see that this is set up. And I mean, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. So you can come in here and you can add a different web filter. So we could add a custom web filter, give it a color, and action. Allow all websites except those on the block list. So it's a block or allow. So we can allow everything but Facebook. We can block everything but Facebook. So you can set that up. You should play with that if you haven't. Then if he runs into something, he can do an access request. And then, of course, we have the block page. Now, I don't have a customized block page, so it's just going to be some generic block page. Now, I could turn on the network security, but for now, we are going to run just this feature, just this safe access in the router is beautiful. This being able to tell his internet to shut off at 10 o'clock, and within that 5-hour block, he gets 2 hours of total usage. It's beautiful. Plus then the content filter on top of it. I can also, there's a pause all button and there's a reward button. So if we click reward, allow my son to access the internet during this period. So I can add more as a reward. I can add more internet, or I can pause all, which just stopped whatever he was doing, and he's gaming, so I'm gonna have to apologize to him, but he gets to be part of the experiment here. So we'll go back to our overview. You can see that my son has been on for 6 minutes. There's been no questionable activities. There's been no dangerous attempts. But I probably need to turn the network protection on for that. And the network protection is going to guard the devices by blocking intrusions, dangerous websites, malware, social engineering, unwanted software, and it does all of this automatically. And it uses an intelligent database. Synology, in my opinion, is years ahead now of anybody that I would consider to be their competitors in this space. I mean, this is a fairly inexpensive router. So I can come in here, there's a log, there's a report, there's nothing in there yet. Here's notifications, and I can set it up to push notifications to mobile. So you can see there's been no questionable activity at this point, no inappropriate attempts. And my son is now protected. So we just kind of hit the tip of the iceberg. Now, before we go, I want to show you one other thing. Synology, we're going to get into this in another video, but Synology has a mesh router now. Synology is not only targeting home users, they're also targeting business users, and they've got the new Synology MR2200 AC mesh Wi-Fi router. I'll leave a link to it along with the RT2600 AC down in the description. They're sending me 2 of these, and you are going to get to see a full mesh setup using Synology. So as soon as I have these in my hands, we will get these set up. We're also going to set up Road Warrior VPNs. Synology has listened to their users, and I believe that they are now a major competitor in the router space. We're going to find out if we can manage all of our routers from one place. We are going to start putting Synology in the rotation. We're going to start pushing this gear as much as we can. So there will be a lot of Synology router videos, especially once I get these other routers. But the really cool thing about this router, the MR2200 AC, is if you want all this functionality that you just saw me configure, you can actually put this thing in bridge mode and put it in line, and it doesn't have to be your router. How awesome is that? So that's it. This video has been long enough. I know, I'm sorry about that, but we're gonna be a lot of Synology videos with everything they've got going on, because I think that they are going to dominate in this space, and especially now creeping into business with the mesh layout. And and they don't have to be mesh, they can be wired, but they've got this thing, you just take this mesh router, you plug it in, they find each other, and you go. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, please comment and share, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you need IT consulting, you can go to h5llc.com down below. Best practice in voice over IP, networking, security, whether that networking is wired or wireless, we can definitely help you out. Security, threat prevention, things like that. Reach out to us. If we can't help you, we'll get you to somebody who can. If you want to support me on Patreon, the Patreon link is down below. If you want to buy any of the gear that you saw in this video, there are specific links down there for that. Plus, there are links to the Amazon store. That is down there as well. If you want to talk to us on Discord, the link is down there. You can check that out. Once again, I honestly, truly appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you in the next video.